Hello, my friends, and welcome to the first issue of True Crime with Rigatoni. I'm your host, Antoni Rigatoni, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the mob works from the inside. But be careful you don't go spreading this about, because if you do, you don't know what kind of issues you might get yourself into if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So, anyway, let me tell you guys this a little story, alright? So, there I was, at my ristorante, Rigatoni Specialty Trattoria, alright? See, I was just getting ready for closing. I got a rag in my hand and I was wiping down the counters. I was wiping down the counters at the bar. And then I hear the door open and I was like, who's coming in at this hour? It's like 9 o'clock on a Friday evening, all right? Nobody's going to be coming in then, right? So then I look over at the door and I see the largest mouth of lard I've ever seen, all right? This guy, he must have been, I don't know, 5'6", 300 pounds or something. Yeah, something like that. Something big. And every time he took a step, I could hear creaking. Alright? Now I must have been 30, 40 feet away from him at this point. Alright? I could hear it from all the way over there. Alright? He was wearing, just like a dark blue shirt, dark blue button up, some black slacks, and a dark gray vest. Alright? Not bad, but also not matching, right? So he was coming up to me at the bar, and I was wiping it down, I was. Then he sits down at the stool, and I could have sworn it was about to break. It creaked and croaked, screaming for mercy beneath the load of this guy in his stomach. Anywho, he told me his name. I'm Giuseppe Rigate. You must be Rigatoni. And I said, yeah, I'm Rigatoni. What you in here for? And he says to me, I want pasta without the sauce. I was about to lose my money, I was. This guy coming into my restaurant and asking for pasta without the sauce. Let me tell you about my father's secret recipe. Right now, this stuff is good stuff. My father's secret recipe. Oh, Papa, if only you were here now to see it. Alessandro Rigatoni. You know what? I'm getting off hand. I'm getting off track. But let me tell you, good sauce. And nobody ever comes to Rigatoni Specialty Trattoria and asks for pasta with no sauce. All right? But this guy does. He's got the gall to do that much. All right? He comes up to me and asks for that. I stop wiping down the counter. I look up at him. All right? I look up at him and say, are you saying what I think you're saying? And he goes, yeah, well, pasta without the sauce. Second time, just so I could be sure he was talking about the right things. I was picking up what he was putting down, catching what he was throwing, smelling what he was stepping in, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So I needed a moment to cool off, so I went back in the kitchen, all right? And I got the stuff cooking, all right? And I put the sauce on the side just in case he wanted it, right? So I was cooking the pasta, I was making sure it wasn't sticking to the bottom of the pot. So I was cooking, I was making sure it was all good and al dente, al dente. And I was also cooking the sauce, right? So I was cooking the sauce, oh, that sauce, it's good enough. Oh, Mamma della Miseria Madonna, it's so good. Anywho, put it all on the side, just put it in a little bowl so he could pour it in if he wanted to. And so I brought it out to him, set it there in front of him, I imagine he wanted some rigatoni because, So I gave it to him, and he was like, what's this? I was like, that's the stuff you asked for. He was like, where's the butter? I was like, sorry, you just want buttered noodles. I put the sauce there in case you wanted flavor. Now you're just asking for buttered noodles? And he was like, yeah, I'm asking for buttered noodles. What of it? What is this red sauce? What is this gravy? Then he spills it all over my countertop that I just spent like 30 minutes wiping down. Okay, not actually 30 minutes, but it was a pretty big deal that he's spilling it all over my countertop. So I got the rag and I started wiping it up very frantically because I was Spilled my sauce! Spilled my sauce, he did. Then I went back in the kitchen and grabbed some butter. Tossed it on his noodles. I was just waiting for the night to be over at that point. Then he looked down after I put the butter on his plate. And he says to me, he says, Rigatoni, I want some raw mushrooms with this. I was about to lose my pasta, I was. He's asking me for raw mushrooms. And I love a good raw mushroom, right? You know, served on the side with some caprese, you know, it's great stuff. But with pasta, that's a whole nother story. So I went back in the kitchen, opened up the refrigerator, grabbed some mushrooms, you know, put it on a little monkey dish, you know, and gave it to him. This guy was so picky, and he was supposed to be Italian, you know. I remember hearing about him, right? He runs the Penne Rigate family. His mother was a Penne, his father was a Rigate, so you know, Penne Rigate. Joined the two families together. Knew his parents, good people, but this guy, not so much, not so much at all. He ate it up tidily, though, or at least I thought he was. He left the bowl half empty, and the mushrooms he didn't even touch. He asked for me to go out of my way, and he didn't even finish half of his plate. I mean, who is this guy walking into my restaurant and asking for stuff that he doesn't even eat? Who is this guy? So anyway, I went back into my kitchen, and I grabbed my special metal spatula, all right? Serrated on this end, and just like a knife on this end, all right? It's a good spatula, let me tell you. I cooked up many a meal with it. It's good stuff. So I grabbed it, and I went out to see Giuseppe Penne Rigate, and I said, now you listen to me here, pal. I don't think you're smelling what I'm stepping in, all right? You walked into my ristorante and asked for stuff that you didn't even eat. You spilled my sauce all over the table. You know how disrespectful that is? To my father's secret recipe? I pointed the special spatula right at his face. Didn't even flinch. He was like, you don't scare me, Rigatoni. You don't scare me at all. You know what? Next time I walk in here, yeah, I'm just gonna order butter on a plate. Not even melted butter to go with the crab dish. No, just butter on a plate. He said that to me. That's what he says. So I leaped over the countertop with my metal spatula in hand and started flinging stuff at him, all right? I started swacking him with it, all right? And he was, you know, like, I tried to hit him, and I did, but, like, it just, the spatula bounced right off of him because he's so fat. What is he, 400 pounds? I know I said 300 earlier, but I'm just remembering now. He must have been 400, 450 or something like that. 450, yeah, definitely. Anywho, then he started running away, and, you know, I'm faster and leaner, right? Leaner and meaner. So I caught up to him easy because he's fat. And I started swacking him again. And once he got out of there, I said, you know what, Giuseppe, you're not coming here a second time. You're never coming here again. Get out of my restaurant. So I threw him out of there. And I had the boys throw posters all around Soudy Heights telling him, you're not allowed in my restaurant again. You hear me? And I made sure everybody knows. No Penne Rigate is allowed in my restaurant again. Nobody bearing the name or bearing the family signet of Penne Rigate is allowed in signature specialty Rigatoni Ristorante. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You better be. Anyways, that's the first issue. Now have a good night. And sleep with one eye open. Picking up what I'm putting down.